Hello! Welcome back to the 14.19 Part 2 rundown. So, we figured everything out, and I'm going to break down some items individually, because it's important on how you're using these items. The TLDR is Bloodmail is the most broken item on URGOT, but it's boring because Bloodmail doesn't do anything apart from give you raw stats. Everything else just feels kind of mediocre, but Bloodmail is your identity and your core, and that's pretty much it. So, I'm gonna, again, I'll separate the video, there'll be timestamps, so you can look at whatever item you're looking for. So obviously we're gonna start with Bloodmail, since that's the main purpose of URGOT now. Bloodmail. You can build Bloodmail on the first item slot, and not only can you build it on the first item slot, you should build it on the first item slot. So the main build path right now is Bloodmail into Black Cleaver, and then you just build whatever tank items you want. You can go Bloodmail into Heartsteel. Heartsteel works from a win more position, but Bloodmail is the best URGOT item right now. Definitively, Bloodmail is broken. Last patch, I put it in the S tier. I put it in the lower S tier because I was like, okay, you can round out builds with it and yada yada yada. But no, you literally just built this item on the first item slot because it gives you 2 tunnelers, which lets you buy AD. Like, the main problem with Black Cleaver right now is that you can reset, and if you're winning, you can go HP and a longsword, right? But with tunnelers, you can do AD, and it's still not trolling. So that's one of the main benefits. The other benefits is it's just HP and AD raw, and it gives you a lot of it. So you're going to be able to stat check people like you were last patch on Black Cleaver. But you don't go Bloodmail first every single lobby. You go Bloodmail first majority of lobbies. Black Cleaver is when you're against armor stacking champions. So if you're against tanks, you go Black Cleaver first. If you're going against anything else that is not a ranged champion, then you go Bloodmail. If you're against ranged champions, you're going Stridebreaker, but any other situation like Set, Darius, Mordekaiser, well, Mordekaiser can still BC first, but, you know. Every other champion that isn't a ranged champion, you should go Bloodmail. Bloodmail, best item, kiss on the cheek to it, beautiful item, but very boring. So, Stridebreaker, the other starting item, you build Stridebreaker into ranged champions. If you're going a ranged champion build, you should do Stridebreaker into Bloodmail, and then Heartsteel if you're winning, and if you aren't winning, then you can just look for generic tank items like Deadmans, Force of Nature, Warmogs. Warmogs is still very good. Other starting item is Black Cleaver. The Black Cleaver is when you are against champions that stack armor, as I said prior. Black Cleaver into tanks, mandatory. Any champion that's going to be rushing Tabis against you and then building more armor beyond it. Naturally tanky champions, so think Wukong. You want to do Black Cleaver into Wukong first, because whenever Wukong hits you, he gets armor. And whenever what he's going to be building is armor-oriented also. So Black Cleaver, when you actually need the armor shred. So Black Cleaver went down to the A tier on this patch because of how they've nerfed it. The build path is worse, the stats are worse, and that's just what it is. This is the first patch in like 6 years, 5 years, where Black Cleaver has not been S+ tier. So now you're actually treating Black Cleaver like a armor shred item rather than a core item, but you should still build it every game. So it's like off core. It's like a luxury core, if that makes sense. Like, you're gonna build this item every single lobby still, but you're not defined around it. So it's like, oh, I'm just gonna wait until I hit Black Cleaver to be a champion. That's not true anymore. You're just gonna build Black Cleaver every game because it's a good item on URGOT generically. Redemption is also in my S tier, and I would like to babble about Redemption a bit. So, Redemption is good because it synergizes with everything that URGOT wants to do. URGOT flips a champion, drop Redemption on yourself. That champion even needs to be Wukong to dash or get away with his clone. Or a Bel'Veth, or an Ezreal, if you've E'd them to escape, right? They need a really long dash, or some kind of way to disengage from you with, like, Shen E, right? Shen E max range is the only way they can get out of the Redemption zone. So if you flip someone, and you drop Redemption on yourself, you are healing yourself for about 300, and then you're also doing 10% true HP damage to them. So, on top of Ignite, which is about 5%, dropping the Redemption true HP percent on them, which is 10%, that's now 15% true damage to someone's max HP, drop the ults on them, that is 40% max HP, max HP damage as true damage in an isolated 1v1. But Redemption doesn't stop getting good there, because Redemption can hit the entire enemy team. So the maximum value you can get from Redemption is probably about 1,500 on your team for healing, and then 50% max HP true damage on every single enemy champion. So Redemption, in my eyes, is one of the most broken items in the game, and it's just so underutilized by champions, but it's specifically good on URGOT, because 1, Redemption empowers your E shielding. 2, it empowers Steraks shielding. 3, it's really good in 1v1s. 4, it's really good for tempo. 5, it's really good to help the map when you can't get there. Redemption is such an incredible item that is so underutilized. And it's especially good, so think about this in your head. I'm for sure Rad editing the video. Hi, Rad! Rad's editing this. Katarina, Lee Sin, and Galio, okay? These 3 champions... Oh, not Galio. Let's use Samira. Fuck Galio. These 3 champions are champions that want to go in and fight you, right? Lee Sin wants to press Q in. The Galio wants to E forwards. Samira is all in or nothing. So these champions are hard melee and they're hard committal. If you drop Redemption on the situation, you're going to deny Samira the resets or potentially deny the resets. If Lee Sin is going for skirmishing, you can drop the Redemption on anyone who's trying to assassinate and give them over the threshold where that now creates a winning scenario for your team. And etc, etc. So that's just one situation where Redemption is good. It's really good against melee-oriented team comps. It's really good against team compositions that want to hard engage with no escape. So Redemption, not a first item. You can just slot it in any item slot beyond the second slot, I would say. Redemption second, not optimal, but, you know, you can do it for winning more purposes. But beyond the third item slot, just look for Redemption. Try it out. Let me know how it feels. I think it's a very good item. I would never lie to you intentionally. And let's talk about more items. Steraks Gage. This item's poop now. Which is sad, because you still have to build this item. You just build it as late as possible now. So, 2 ways you're playing URGOT right now is you're playing him to be a raid boss, or you're playing him to be a carry. Regardless of build, you're building Steraks, even though Steraks is not a great item anymore, because again, it's just that situation with Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver is a good item. Black Cleaver was a great item that got hit into a good item, but you still have to build it every game, because that's just how URGOT works. URGOT is the same tied in with Steraks. So, Steraks, you want to be building late as possible, 4th or 5th. A normal build with Steraks looks like Overlord's Bloodmail, Black Cleaver, Heartsteel, Steraks, and then a defensive item at the end. You can skip it. I don't recommend doing that, because URGOT's identity is just like, his gameplay identity is so tied in with what Steraks does. It feels like you're naked without building Steraks, right? So I do encourage you to keep building Steraks if you like Steraks. Just keep in mind, not 2nd, not 3rd, needs to be on 4th or 5th. Heartsteel. So this might be a hot take, but I've been really liking Heartsteel. I know the other URGOT players are liking Heartsteel, but it needs to be played correctly. You can't build this item every single lobby. Heartsteel being an A tier is accurate, because the game got DPS and like everything just got lowered in this game, right? So in a situation when you aren't going to die immediately and people are durable, you want Heartsteel to benefit from the low damage environment to get to that point where you're a spiraling AD tank. So you're going to start Overlord's Bloodmail, and then if you're winning and can continue winning from that position, build Heartsteel. But not if you're against percent HP true damage or percent HP damage. So Camille, that instantly invalidates Heartsteel. Fiora instantly invalidates Heartsteel. Vayne invalidates Heartsteel. So in lobbies where they don't have much percent HP, like a Brand is like whatever, Brand's gonna one-shot you anyway. Heartsteel is fine against Brand. That is the optimal use of Heartsteel. So Heartsteel when you're winning more and can continue to push leads with it. Warmogs is still good. It got off really light with nerfs. I believe Rad showed a nerfs on screen, please. I'm pretty sure it got nerfed, but it was like really minor nerfs. Warmogs is still a great item, but more situational use. I don't think Warmogs is S tier. I think Warmogs is in the A tier alongside Heartsteel. Pretty much the same item balance. They try to achieve very different things, but they're thematically quite similar. So I think Warmogs belongs in the A tier. Its application is to be bought on the 3rd or... It's not... If you're buying Warmogs 3rd, you're buying it to win more. If you're buying Warmogs 4th, you're buying it to survive. So... an average build example would be Overlord's Bloodmail into Black Cleaver into Warmogs. That's winning more. Or if you want to hyper win more, you do Overlord's Bloodmail, Heartsteel, Warmogs, Black Cleaver, Steraks. So we can use Steraks on 4th and then Black Cleaver on 5th. That's how versatile items are with URGOT in general. You can just build them on whatever item slot. So, Deadman's Plate and Force of Nature. So these two items are very similar in the fact that they're defensive and they give you movement speed. Movement speed, ultimately, will always be URGOT's best stat because he's a very slow champion, and URGOT kills you if he gets on top of you, right? So if you are against AP champions, you build Force of Nature. If you're against AD champions, you build Deadman's Plate. Deadman's Plate actually got buffed when every other item in the game got nerfed. Deadman's Plate, in my eyes, last patch was already in the A, low S tier. So now I think Deadman's is easily S tier with the correct application. And Force of Nature just gives you so much magic resistances, MR. It makes Brand very hard to kill you. But one other defensive item I would like to talk about is Unending Despair. So Unending Despair says when you're in champion combat for a long time, heal from how many champions are nearby you. This is good for URGOT with the Heartsteel build and Win More build. You just become an unkillable raid boss. And remember, the more health you have, the more AD you're going to be getting from Overlord's Bloodmail. Profane Hydra. Let's talk about the Hydras, why not? Profane Hydra, it's pretty bad. Even from the winning more position, you can just kind of bulk out more and do more with HP and AD rather than building AD and damage carry items like Lethal do. Profane Hydra, I put it into B tier, maybe give it a miss. Titanic Hydra, still awful. Don't build Titanic Hydra. Frozen Heart is really bad because the rock solid passive doesn't translate onto the item. If you're looking for Frozen Heart, you should probably look for Randuin's, but if Randuin's isn't good, then look for Thornmail. Thornmail is one of the big winners of this patch, but I only have it in the A+ tier, because I'm not sure if it's like hyper broken on URGOT or not. But if you're looking for a defensive item on URGOT that requires armor, you should first look for Deadmans, and then after Deadmans, you look for Thornmail. If you need anti-heal and armor, then prioritize Thornmail over Deadmans. Thornmail is a potential S tier item on URGOT right now. I just need to do a little bit more experimentation. Jackshow. I think Jackshow got a little bit better with this patch because, like, you know, the lower damage environment and stuff. I still don't like it. I think it's a bit cosmetic. But you can build it. I think Jackshow belongs in the B tier. Lowest of B tier, highest of C tier. I only really like to build Jackshow when I have Enchanters, because Enchanters keep me alive and it justifies its passive, right? But if you're building Jackshow with Unending Despair, then yeah, that would be a good item combo, because you're playing to an identity. So the most important thing about URGOT when you're playing him is that you're playing to an identity. Heartsteel, that's a build identity. Black Cleaver, that's not a build identity. Stridebreaker, that's a build identity. Black Cleaver does everything. Heartsteel plays to win more. Stridebreaker plays against ranged champions. That's what I mean by build identity. If you have a thematic build with Jackshow, then sure, Jackshow is fine. You're enabled by Enchanters. You have Unending Despair to keep you healthy in combat. But I see Jackshow as more of a volley bear item than I do an URGOT item, personally. But it's okay. Hullbreaker. Hullbreaker is mid. It didn't really get that much changes, damage-wise. I think they just flattened out the ratios. No, they buffed the ratios to flatten out the damage it lost. So I think in total, you're probably getting like 15, 20 more damage, but like that's nothing in the grand scale of things. So I think Hullbreaker, give it a miss. There's better items to build always. And that's about it. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. Here's the item tier list for the current patch. And a matchup tier list that I have not updated, but I keep putting here because no one questions me when I put it here. Bye!